Alrighty, so this just showed up a little bit ago. This is a prototype of, I guess, a prototype. This is the 919 that SRC will be releasing. They asked if they could send me kind of a thank you for the videos and the, I don't know, I guess the videos. They wanted to send me a present. And this is very much appreciated. There's some really excellent detail on this car. As you see here, this is, I believe, a 3D printed body and a chassis here. And it's obviously non-functional. But we're going to see about that, shall we? Anyway, what can we see here? We have an angle winder pod. We have a very lightweight looking chassis, probably when it's in its finished state. This is, as they call it, has been Swiss cheesed. The detail looks really good. I'm going to have to look at the prototype photos of this car to kind of compare to what the real one looks like. But, I mean, it sure looks like they've done a nice job with this car. Okay, so we have, again, from them we have a body where the front, the nose, the clip, the front clip is a separate piece, as you can see here, that you can adjust to rattle. Very small area for an interior, obviously. I mean, this is a prototype car. In real life, it's going to be teeny tiny. So here's the inside of the chassis. We have nice, what will be the rear, like the pod adjustments there. We have the kind of a standard adjustments there for the front of the pod. The pod has little like towers where it kind of fits into the chassis here. Unfortunately, this pod is glued in, it looks like. We have, well, glued in on this car, of course. We have front axle adjustments up and down, as you would expect. And we have a guide that's pretty far forward. Nice guide lead. We have nice spaces, nice kind of keyways for where the wires would be, so you can kind of stick them down so the wires don't foul anything. Going to go nice. You're going to be able to get that nice and tight under the front axle. Detail on the wheels looks nice too, of course. Here you see this is what will be probably a metal wheel, and detail on these Porsche wheels looks pretty good. Took the tires off, the wheels off, just to get a little better look here. One thing I see here that's really nice is they have spacers built into the chassis for the front axle, so it keeps the front axle at the right width, and without adding like thrust bearings, or without adding kind of bearings, extra bearings on the axles or sleeves on the axle. I kind of like that. So here's the thing. This guy is not functional, and it doesn't really have, I mean, it doesn't have any parts that came with it to make it functional. But this guy has parts. Let's try to make this car functional, shall we? It has begun. I have the motor from the donor Toyota in here. I have the rear bearings seated in the axle holder. Probably take out the front wheels and replace them with the chrono wheels and tires that I got here from the donator car. Yeah, boy, let's get this thing going here. Okay, I got it on the track here. As you can see, the it's wired up, but I want to make sure it's going the right way. Survey says nope. Well, so here's the thing. It's together, and it does work. But of course, I had to break something, which happens to be the mount for the front body screw, because of course this is a very brittle prototype that was meant to be a gift, not actually meant to run. So in tightening it down, this post mounting part started to crack. So it does run, and we will do a couple laps here. The problem is I needed to adjust the front axle down so and I'll show you here, it's really, really low, and in fact drags on the track because it's not set. Yep. And yeah. Anyway, it looks really great. So here we go. What you should never do with a gift prototype. Is this the first time anyone has seen this car run outside of SRC? It's entirely possible. Well, I have to say, this is at 9 volts with their motor, and their tires. I'm impressed. Yeah, well, anyway, I shouldn't be running this, but, you know, I can't leave well enough alone. This is a great car. Very happy to see them coming out with some new cars. Very happy to see them coming out with a prototype like this, the Porsche 919. So let me try not to dump this thing off of the plinth here, the setup block. You can see that the chassis is as low as you could possibly get it. Now that makes sense because you got to adjust this front axle down to get things just right. This is meant to be a really serious racer, and boy howdy, this is a serious racer. This thing looks really great. It's nice and low, and I can't wait to see it in its finished form. So what we have here is a really highly detailed car. The more you look at it, especially under the nice bright studio lights here, you can see all of the details that will be there on the finished model. All the body lines and the panel lines. This is really an impressive looking little car. And again, the part that I broke. Ha! Yeah, well. I think it was Maurizio that said it was his job to break things when you do testing. Anyway, so here's a first look at the SRC 919. It is impressive. I'm sure it's going to be a really, really fast car. Boy, it looks good. Thanks again to SRC for sending me this surprising present. It really means a lot to have support of manufacturers. It really, really does.